Hello, hello. Welcome back to Matthew and Rachel Radio English. I'm Matthew, and as always, I'm joined by the person who keeps my manners in check, Rachel. How you doing today, Rachel?
Oh, stop it, Matthew. I'm doing great, thank you. Though, to be honest, I did have a bit of a politeness emergency at the coffee shop this morning, which actually makes today's topic perfect. How about you? Are you feeling well-behaved?
Always, or at least I try to be. I'm excited because today we're diving into something that goes way beyond just saying please and thank you. We're talking about how to be polite in English, and specifically that formal or softened vocabulary that separates an intermediate learner from someone who truly understands the culture of the language.
That's such a good point. You know, Matthew, many of our listeners probably know the basic words, but English can be tricky. Sometimes you can be 100% grammatically correct and still sound incredibly rude or demanding without meaning to. It's all about the cushioning of the language, isn't it?
Exactly. It's like putting a pillow around your words so they don't hit the other person too hard. So in today's episode, we're going to look at indirect questions, the power of modal verbs, how to disagree without making enemies, some magic formal phrases for the workplace, and even how to be polite when you're actually angry.
So let's start with the big one, directness. Matthew, imagine I'm at a restaurant and I say to the waiter, I want a glass of water. Is that wrong?
Well, grammatically, no. It's a perfect sentence. But socially, it feels like a command. It feels like you're the Queen of England talking to a servant from the 1800s. In English, being direct is often seen as being aggressive or even arrogant.
Right. And that's a trap for many intermediate students, because in some languages like Spanish or Italian, being direct is just being efficient. It's seen as honest. But in English, we love to use distance. Instead of I want, we almost always use I'd like, or even better, could I possibly have?
Could I possibly have? That's a classic. Notice how we add extra words just to sound less demanding. It's funny, isn't it? We use more words to say the same thing just to be polite. It's like we're afraid of the word want.
We really are. I mean, think about the word give. If you say, give me that pen, it sounds like a robbery. But if you say, would you mind passing me that pen? Suddenly, everything is relaxed and friendly.
Let's break that down for a second, Rachel. Would you mind is a phrase our listeners should write down and tattoo on their brains. But there's a catch with the grammar there, right?
Oh, definitely. This is a huge one for pronunciation and retention. When you use would you mind, the next verb must end in ing. So, would you mind opening the window, not would you mind open. And here's the tricky part for the listeners. If someone asks you, would you mind helping me, and you want to say yes, what do you say?
Most people would say yes. But technically, if you don't mind, it means you are happy to do it. So the polite answer is no, not at all, or I'd be happy to. If you say yes, I mind, you're actually saying yes, it bothers me. Go away.
Imagine the confusion. Would you mind helping me? Yes. And then you just sit there. That's why English is so fun, right? It's all about these little social codes.
Okay, let's move to another level of politeness, indirect questions. This is where you want to ask for information, but you don't want to sound like an interrogator or a policeman.
Right. Instead of asking, where is the station, which is very A1 level, what would a more sophisticated, polite speaker say, Matthew?
They would probably use a starter phrase, something like, I was wondering if you could tell me where the station is, or do you happen to know where the station is?
Do you happen to know? I love that phrase. It's so useful because it gives the other person an out. It implies that they might not know, so there's no pressure. It's very humble. It's like saying, I know you're busy and you might not know this, but maybe, just maybe.
And let's talk about the pronunciation of I was wondering if, because we don't say every word clearly. We kind of slide through it. I was wondering if. It sounds almost like one single word. Rachel, try saying it naturally so the listeners can hear that flow.
Sure. I was wondering if. I was wondering if you could help me. See how was and wondering just kind of melt together? I was wondering if. It's not I was wondering if. That sounds like a robot.
Exactly. The retention tip here is the more words you put at the beginning of a question, the more polite you sound. What time is it? Versus, I don't suppose you have the time, do you?
Oh, that last one is very advanced. I don't suppose you have the time, do you? It's almost like you're apologizing for even asking. It's a bit extreme, but in a formal British setting, it's perfect.
Here is a secret tip for our intermediate listeners. Have you noticed, Rachel, how we often use the past tense to be polite in the present?
Oh, you mean like, I was hoping to talk to you.
Exactly. I'm not talking about the past. I want to talk to you now. But if I say, I hope to talk to you, is very direct. If I say, I was hoping, it creates a bit of distance. It makes the request feel softer.
That is a brilliant observation, Matthew. We do that with wanted, too. I wanted to ask you a favor. It sounds much less aggressive than I want to ask you a favor.
It's almost like you're saying, this thought was in my head, but I don't want to bother you if you're busy. It's all about giving the other person space to breathe.
And let's not forget the I was just thinking phrase. I was just thinking maybe we could go for lunch. It sounds much more casual and polite than let's go for lunch.
Now, Rachel, let's talk about the workplace or a debate. This is where people lose points. In many cultures, saying, no, that's wrong is just being honest. But in English, how do you tell someone they are wrong without actually saying those words?
Oh, saying you're wrong is a death sentence for a conversation. Even I disagree can be a bit too sharp sometimes. I prefer to use what I call the yes but approach, or using softeners.
Like to be honest or with respect?
Actually, with all due respect is funny because in modern English, when someone says with all due respect, they're usually about to say something very disrespectful.
True. It's almost a warning now. It's like saying, get ready, I'm about to destroy your argument.
Exactly. I think a better way is to start with, I see your point, but, or I hear what you're saying, however, or my favorite, I'm not sure I quite agree with that.
I'm not sure I quite agree. Notice how Rachel used quite. That's a mitigator. It makes the disagreement smaller. It's not a big no. It's maybe not exactly that.
And another one is using actually, but you have to be careful with the tone. If you say, actually, that's not true, you sound like a know-it-all. But if you say, actually, I think it might be the other way around, it sounds like you're just offering a different perspective.
It's all in the music of the voice, isn't it? The intonation. In English, we tend to go up at the end of polite sentences to show we are open to feedback. If your voice goes down, you sound like you're ending the conversation. Okay, now let's talk about some tiny words that change everything. Words like just, bit, and slightly. I call these the softeners. They're the secret weapons of polite English.
Oh, I use just all the time. I'm just calling to ask, could I just have a second of your time? It makes the request feel smaller and less annoying. It's like you're saying, I won't take much of your energy.
It's true. If I say, I have a problem, it sounds heavy, like a mountain. But I say, I have a bit of a problem, it sounds like a small pebble we can kick out of the way easily.
Or it's slightly expensive instead of it's expensive. If you tell a salesman it's expensive, he might feel insulted or think you're poor. If you say, it's slightly more than I was looking to spend, it's very professional.
And what about when we have to give bad news? Like, imagine you have to tell a client that a project is late. You wouldn't say, the project is late. That's too blunt.
No way. You'd say, unfortunately, there's been a slight delay, or it appears that we might not hit the deadline.
It appears that, and it seems that, those are brilliant. It's like you're saying, I'm not blaming anyone, it's just something I'm observing in the universe. It removes the personal blame.
That's right. Now, Matthew, let's do a quick check on pronunciation because sometimes polite words sound rude if the stress is in the wrong place. Take the word please.
Good one. If you put please at the end of a sentence with a falling intonation, it can sound like a command. Sit down, please. It sounds like you're talking to a dog. It's almost aggressive.
Exactly. But if you say, could you sit down, please? With a rising tone on please, it's a genuine request. It sounds like an invitation.
Another one is sorry. In English-speaking countries, especially the UK and Canada, we use sorry for everything. If someone bumps into me on the street, I say sorry.
It's true. It's not an admission of guilt. It's a social lubricant. It just means I acknowledge we had an awkward moment. If you don't say it, you look like a cold person.
So for our listeners, don't be afraid to overuse sorry, please, and thank you. But make sure your voice sounds light. If your voice is flat or heavy, you'll sound sarcastic. And sarcasm is the absolute enemy of politeness.
Okay, now I think we should probably give some specific phrases for those who work in English because polite in the office means professional. There is a specific business English politeness.
Definitely. One of my favorites is, I'd be grateful if. It's much more elegant than I need you to or can you. It shows that you will appreciate the effort.
And instead of tell me when you're free, which sounds like you're checking their personal schedule, you can say, please let me know your availability. It's cleaner, more detached, and very professional.
Or, I'd appreciate your thoughts on this, instead of what do you think? What do you think is fine for friends, but I'd appreciate your thoughts makes the other person feel like an expert.
I'd appreciate your thoughts. That's a 10 out of 10 phrase. It shows you value the other person's opinion.
And what about when you don't understand something? Instead of what or I don't understand, which can sound like you're saying the other person is bad at explaining.
Oh, definitely use, could you clarify that for me? Or if I understand correctly, you mean, this shows you're taking responsibility for the communication rather than blaming them for being confusing.
Clarify is such a great formal word. It's much better than explain again. It sounds like you just want to make things clear, like water. Now it's time to talk about how to be chilled, but respectful.
This is interesting, Matthew. Being polite doesn't always mean being formal. You can be polite with your friends using casual language.
That's a great point. You don't say, I was wondering if you could possibly pass the salt to your brother. He would think you're crazy.
He would think you're making fun of him. In casual settings, we use phrases like, do you mind? Or is it okay if?
And what about cheers? In the UK and Australia, cheers is a very polite, casual way to say thank you and goodbye at the same time.
And no worries. No worries is the ultimate polite response to a thank you or a sorry. It tells the other person, don't stress. Everything is fine.
Another one is, I'm good, thanks, when someone offers you something. Instead of just saying no, which is quite dry, I'm good, thanks is soft and friendly.
Or I'm all set. I love that one. If a waiter asks if you want more coffee, you say, I'm all set, thank you. It's a very polite way to say no more. Well, time to talk about how to handle angry situations politely.
This might be the most important section. What happens when you are actually upset? How do you stay polite when you want to scream?
That's the true test of a language learner. The key is to use the passive voice or neutral subjects. Instead of saying, you broke the copier, you say, the copier seems to be broken.
Oh, that's clever. You're not attacking the person, you're attacking the problem.
Exactly. Or instead of, you didn't send me the email, you say, I haven't received the email yet. See the difference? You didn't is an accusation. I haven't received is just a fact about your inbox.
It's almost like magic. You're saying the same thing, but one starts a fight and the other starts a solution.
And if you're really annoyed, you can use the phrase, I'm a bit concerned about. I'm a bit concerned about the progress of this project. It sounds much more serious and professional than, I'm angry that this is slow.
Concerned, that's a powerful word. It shows you care about the result, not just your own feelings.
All right, listeners, before we finish, let's talk about why. Why is English so focused on this indirectness?
It's a concept called negative politeness. In many English-speaking cultures, the biggest sin is to be an inconvenience to others. We don't want to intrude on your space or time.
So by being indirect, we're saying, I respect your freedom to say no. If I ask a direct question, it feels like I'm forcing you. If I use 5 softeners, I'm giving you the exit door.
It's a bit of a social dance, and for our listeners, it might feel fake at first. You might think, why can't I just say what I want? But once you start using it, you'll notice that people react to you much better. They become more helpful.
It's true. It opens doors. Being too polite in English is almost impossible. Being too direct, however, happens every day.
Wow, we've really gone deep today, Rachel. We've covered everything from would you mind to the psychology of negative politeness.
It's been a long journey, but a very useful one. If I had to summarize, I'd say politeness in English is about showing the other person that you respect their time and their space. It's about using distance and softeners.
Let's do a quick recap of the golden phrases for our listeners to retain. I was wondering if, for asking favors, would you mind, ing, for requests, I'm not sure I quite agree, for disagreeing, it seems, it appears, for avoiding blame, actually, for correcting someone gently.
And my personal favorite, no worries, for the casual vibe.
Perfect. So your homework this week is try to replace one I want with I'd like or I was hoping to. Just one. See if the reaction of the person you're talking to changes.
I bet it will. And don't forget to pay attention to your intonation. Keep it light, keep it moving.
Well, that's all for today's mega episode of Matthew and Rachel Radio English. It's been an absolute pleasure, Rachel.
The pleasure was all mine, Matthew. Thank you for such a great conversation.
And thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. We don't have a website yet, so just keep listening to us right here. We'll be back next time with more real, natural English. Until then, stay polite, stay curious, and keep practicing.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Goodbye.